1, 2, 3, 4. Because every time I go to try to leave, something keeps pulling on my sleeve. I don't want to, but I got to stay. These drugs really got a hold of me. Because every time I try to tell them no, they won't let me ever let them go. I'm a sucker, all I got to say. These drugs really got a hold of me. What up, y'all? Babylon 5 Podcast. It's your boy Jermaine Event. How's it going? It's episode 57. The Notorious NIG. Nah, it's just Notorious NIG. All right. This episode 57, Notorious NIG. I'm going to be saying some things that might come off a little bit controversial to some people in this episode today, which honestly, I don't think it should be. When I bring up these points to people, it shouldn't be like, what? It shouldn't be like, when did that happen? Because when it happened live, I never forgot. You know what I'm saying? So when I bring this up to people and they're like, what? When did that happen? I'll show people and they're like, oh shit, I didn't even know that happened. But, so this episode is Notorious NIG, episode 57. I'm your host, Jermaine Event. How you guys been? Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys are washing your hands, wearing your masks, practicing social distance. Don't just go out just to go out. Don't do no dumb shit, you know? Don't do no dumb shit. Don't do no dumb shit. Don't do no dumb shit. I don't know why. That's not a song, but it just like sounded good in my head. Don't do no dumb shit. I'm sorry. I digress. But this is not I Digress, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Babylon 5 Podcast. I'm your boy, Jermaine Event. Give you niggas the social medias because I know you guys are like, hey, bro, why don't you just go ahead and give us the social medias so we can get it over with, so we can get on with our lives. All right? Social medias, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to follow this podcast on Instagram and Twitter, you can go ahead to @Babylon5Pod. You can follow my personal accounts at My Name's Jermaine. You can email this podcast at babylon5podcast@gmail.com. You can follow this podcast. If you're listening right now, go ahead to Podbean and follow this podcast. Go to babylon5.podbean.com and follow this podcast. It really helps me out. You know what I'm saying? Give me some comments. If you guys are on Podbean or however, if you're on Stitcher, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, anywhere that you listen to podcasts, go ahead and favorite this podcast. Do whatever you guys can to get this podcast out there to the next person. It's out here pretty much on anywhere that podcasts stream. You guys can go ahead and, if you want to add me on Xbox, my gamer tag is SauceBoss414. I did not make a schedule intentionally. Well, there's just some things. I'll when the schedule's ready to go, the schedule's ready to go. But I don't want to set a schedule. There's just, you know, life is just too crazy right now. If I don't really know what my time is going to be like. You know what I'm saying? Because life is, we're in a pandemic. Shit's crazy. So if I get some little normalcy in my schedule, then I'll get you niggas a Twitch schedule, and you guys will see me pretty often at twitch.tv/Babylon5. And you can go ahead and just, in the meantime, check out the merchandise. Go to teespring.com. teespring.com/stores/BOFpod-shop. And go ahead and check out the merchandise. I've been meaning to just go on there and just, you know, use my artistic skills and just design some shit. You know what I'm saying? Why not? I just wanted to make some shit. I went on there once and I was like, I think before I made the Babylon 5 stuff, and I was just like seeing what I could do to fuck around. And I was like, damn, I could make some cool shit just for myself. I didn't want to make like a line for other people. I just want to make my own clothes. And then people were like, oh shit, where'd you get that? And it's like, it's literally does not exist anywhere but my mind. And I made it, and this is my shit, so you can't have it. I don't know. I personally get annoyed when niggas be like, oh shit, that jacket's cold, bro. Where'd you get it? Nigga, don't worry about it. I didn't get this jacket because I saw everybody else here wearing the same jacket. I got this jacket because I like this jacket, and I ain't seen nobody with this jacket, nigga. And if I tell you where I got this jacket, you're going to get this jacket. And if you get this jacket, somebody's going to say to you, oh my God, that's a nice jacket. Where'd you get it? And you're going to say, fuck, I got it from over here for this price. Then 1,000 other motherfuckers are going to go get my jacket. So that's just how I wanted to do. I just wanted to make my own clothes that were completely unavailable to other motherfuckers. That's how I am. I'm just fucking weird that way. I mean, I wear pretty random clothes as it is. Nobody really dresses how, like, the shoes I wear, most people like when I'm outside, people are like, what the fuck is going on with that young man? You know what I'm saying? I got my gauges, my colorful gauges. My mask will say like Hail Satan. If you see the Can I video, if I'm wearing that mask, I got multiple masks. My shoes are like water shoes that I usually wear if you see me out. They're like, people think they're socks at first glance. They're like, this nigga's out here with socks. I guess I look homeless at first glance. But then I'm usually like wearing like Easter colors. Like, even if it's a hoodie, I'm usually wearing like bright colors because, I don't know, I look good in them bright colors, nigga. I'm a dark-skinned nigga. I'm a dark-skinned nigga. I'm a dark-skinned nigga. And I look good in fucking pastel colors, nigga. That's why, nigga. That's why. Trying to come up in here with all that shit, nigga, that's why. Anywho, if you guys want to go to patreon.com/Babylon5, go ahead and be my patrons. Don't be my Negro, be my patron. Don't be my Negro, be my patron. Go ahead to patreon.com. You check out the I Digresses, which are my vlogs. There's one just audio when shit was kind of fucked up. But I got I Digress. And it's up there. I Digress 7, I guess, doesn't exist anymore. I said to you guys, I was like, I'm pretty sure I Digress 7 is up there. I was just watching it. But, no, it doesn't exist. I don't think so. I mean, I was watching it, but then I went back to the YouTube, and it's just, like, not even there anymore. So I thought it was pretty entertaining. I watched it. I was like, damn, I was killing it in this one, but YouTube took it down. Because what I found out was it's not illegal or whatever, or against the rules for me to react to the UFC's videos. That's not against the rules. What I did was completely within the rules, but because I only have like 14 subscribers, UFC's not going to allow me to react to their videos. Pretty much no one is going to allow me to react to their videos unless I reach out to them and say, hey, can I react to this video? Is it cool if I use this video? And they say yes. Otherwise, YouTube that shit will get flagged immediately and YouTube will take it down. So, unfortunately, I Digress 7 doesn't exist. It is the 20th, right? It's the 20th. But Dragon Ball Super came out actually 2 days ago. I didn't do an I Digress for the Dragon Ball Super as I had been doing when the Dragon Ball Supers come out. I'm going to do it maybe tomorrow or so much. I'm still going to go over it. I didn't feel like there was a lot of dialogue-wise, there wasn't a lot of content. So, like, I don't know, randomly I wasn't too compelled to do an I Digress because there wasn't too much progress with the storyline. It was just more of a battle, more of a fight going on in this whole episode. So, but I'm going to go over it probably tomorrow. Sorry for these burps. Didn't mean to be so gassy here. Gassy here? Anywho. I was gonna gassy here, go through some things, but I'm like, nah. Like right away, I was like, do you really want to do this, brother? My brother. Do you really want to do this? Nah, I don't think I want to do it. So the other day, when this episode was originally called North Camerica, and I just recently changed it. Yesterday I changed, or maybe this morning I changed it to Wicked Biscuit. And yeah, I changed it. Well, I had it either it was gonna be North Camerica or Wicked Biscuit. What is it? Now I gotta go through this whole Wicked Biscuit thing. Cause I can't just say, oh, you were gonna call it Wicked Biscuit, and it's like, nigga, what the fuck are you talking about, Wicked Biscuit? So, if you guys don't know this about Jermaine, Jermaine is a big, well, I mean, when I say like a big fan, it's like, who the fuck isn't my guy? Who isn't? Like, oh, are you breathing? Like, but for a long time, I've always been a fan of The Office, even when it was like, I'm a hipster when it comes to The Office. I watched it as it was new episodes. Not initially, but I'm pretty sure Michael was still there when I started watching. So I'm a hipster when it comes to The Office. And I was watching The Office the other day with my wife, and I was talking about when I was doing this telemarketing job, and right before my shift, he does this, like, vocal exercise. I remember he did it in one episode, and I was like, what was that? I want to just, like, do that so that I could just, before I start work. And I looked it up, and it completely geeked me out. And just throughout the day, it would just pop in my head, and I'd start geeking out. And I'm like, fuck, dude. Why did I look that up? And ruin my whole day of cold calling old people. I can't find it. Oh, wait, here it is. Okay. Because he's talking about Brad Pitt. I was just watching it. This nigga say, so it's from The Office, and he's just like, he's going on a sales call, Dwight, that is, and he's like, blah, blah, blah. Rat-tat-tat, tittle, tattled, and prattled about the little metal bottle. See, I can't do it. I fucking can't do these vocal exercises. Let's try it, ladies and gentlemen. Since we're here, you guys want to try it with me? Let's go. Rat-tat-tattle. Rat-tat. I guess my wife just stopped home. Rat-tat-tat, tittled, tattled, and prattled on about the little metal bottle. She spit a bit of spittle in a bitter battle. She spit a bit of spittle in a bitter battle. Trisky Sissel spat a bit of whisket biscuit. That's how it ends. So that's the whole point. I was going to call the episode Wicked Biscuit, just to reference that vocal exercise for my boy Dwight. But then, we changed it to Notorious NIG, which is the real shit. And it was originally called North America. When I was looking at this, Trump announced this Patriotic Education Commission. I think it's pretty silly. Patriotic Education Commission. Hold on one second. Sorry. I just needed to make sure we weren't being robbed and someone wasn't hiding in my apartment in an attempt to just rape and murder everybody in this apartment. We don't know. I know my wife told me she wasn't going to be back for like a couple hours, or like she was like 2-3 hours, and maybe she's been gone about an hour. So that's why when I heard the keys and all that jingling, and I'm like, oh, my wife's home. But then I was like, nah, she should not be here. So I was like, let me just pause real quick and make sure niggas ain't trying to kill me. I mean, even if they are, go ahead, If I can't stop you, I can't stop you. But if I can, let me pause this recording and see if niggas is trying to kill me. So this nigga Donald Trump, this fuckboy Donald Trump announced the Patriotic Education Commission, all right? Around the Patriotic Education Commission. This fuck nigga. This is why I called it North America, because when I remember I was watching Viceland with my boy Matt Shotting. I was watching Viceland with my boy Matt Shotting, and they went to North Korea. They snuck into North Korea and was just like showing all this shit. But one of the things that really stuck out to me, which I wasn't I didn't see it as this is a solely North Korean thing. I thought it was definitely an American thing as well. But I didn't, I wasn't sure. I was like, damn, to what extent are we being taught this way? You know what I'm saying? Who's to say that we aren't being told lies? And there was a point where I think there was a captured U.S. submarine or some shit that people would go and do tours of. It was a pretty the tourist attraction for that area that they were in. And Yeah, it was the stories they were telling him was about like when North Korea defeated America in this war and all kinds of like nonsense. As far as I know, who knows that like I haven't been told lies my entire life and they actually won the war. You know what I'm saying? Which is not true. But I'm saying like those people over there who were raised in there and they're blocked off. They like block off communication from the other outside of the world. They can't like, as far as I know, they can't necessarily like just go on the internet and talk to somebody in America and just be like, oh, hey, what's going on? That's not the case. You can't do that there. But what they know from that Viceland documentary, it was all about like how they defeated the evil Americans in this war. And it was just like all lies, all propaganda. So I was going to name this episode North Comerica, as Trump announced on Thursday that he was creating a commission to promote patriotic education. All right? Patriotic education, he says the anti-racism that people are doing, the anti-racism shit that people are teaching now in schools with everything that's going down is pretty hurtful to the nation. He doesn't want to see it, all right? He doesn't want to see anti-racism teachings in his America, god damn it. Because it's not his, it's North Comerica. We're here right now in North Comerica, ladies and gentlemen. We're here in North Comerica. And it's just scary, you know? I know so many people that, like, I know people who support him, and I've never once, like, when crazy shit like this happens, I never see them post about it. I never see them like, fuck yeah. All right? If you support Trump and then the fucking court documents come out of this little girl talking about him holding her down on the bed, beating her and raping her, you should be like, fuck yeah, Trump, because you support that man. You can't just ignore facts. You can't see like him saying like all this anti-racism shit. No, we need to get that out of schools and we need to teach these fucking lies. You need to be like, fuck yeah, Trump. Let's teach these fucking lies. And I say that right now because I know a fucking teacher who tells me about how much he supports Trump. I think I talked about this last week. And, you know, he's a teacher and he supports Trump. And it's like, dude, what do you say about this right here where he's openly talking about just teaching fucking lies? Teaching lies, nigga. I never see any of them, like, openly back the nonsense. But if there's anything that you can't attribute to him, anything positive that you shouldn't attribute to him, they're like, well, that's because he's in office. No, it's not. It's not because, like, you can't just accredit him with the positive while ignoring all this blatant fucking crazy shit. All right? If you support Trump, then that means you support the fucking rape that happened. You support that lady who I just read about, who's talking about, like, she went in, they were at, I think it was like some sporting event, and he was like, he let her use his executive bathroom, and then he came and just like forced himself, like stuck his tongue down her throat, just feeling all on her. Just this whole, he's like, I think she was like, what was she, was like a model or some shit like that. All kinds of shit. Whatever it was, you guys support it. You agree with it. You're all for it. You're all for it. Because otherwise you wouldn't defend this man. You wouldn't continue to back this man. Grabbing the pussy wasn't enough to take a lot of... Dude, was it like 53% of the fucking women that voted for Trump? Okay. So that means 53% of these women in America that voted for Trump, you agree with. You're okay with the fucking rapes, the fucking pedophilia. You're okay with all the racism. You're okay with just blatant ignorance, man. If this... I said it. I'm laughing because it was like, fuck, 4 years ago. I was about to say, like, man, if he's elected, I got to get out of here. That's what I was about to say. And it's like, damn. And I laugh because it's like, nigga, you said that 4 years ago. Remember, nigga, you was that up and under talking about, oh, shit, it's about to go down. We got to get out of here. Remember, nigga, member. You know what I'm saying? Like, I said this 4 years ago, and I made no attempt to leave the country. I made no attempt. This is my thing, though, right? So, with how bad things have gotten, I didn't expect them to get this bad, nigga. I think with the pandemic, shit really got crazy bad. Like, it got worse than I could have imagined because of the pandemic. Like, before the pandemic, it was like, well, Trump is crazy racist. He's bringing all this racist. And I was like, well, now we can get a real progressive in there. That was my whole mindset. I didn't vote for anybody last election. So I was like, but if Trump wins, when he did win, I was like, well, at least we could get, like, it'll get bad and people will they'll back Bernie because they'll see how fucking crazy shit can get. But then I didn't factor in the fact that there would be a fucking global pandemic and that would really fucking wreck shit. And it's gotten fucking terrible. So if you support that man, shame on you. Shame on you. And I don't necessarily support Biden. I'm voting for him. I don't necessarily support Kamala. I'm voting for him. But if you can fucking say to me right now, because this person who sent me that nonsense, he said to me that he likes Trump. He feels like Trump is actually fighting for people no matter their fucking race, like creed, like gender, all that shit. And it's like, do you seriously believe that? Like, you seriously believe that? I don't know, everything on it just really throws me off, man. This man blatantly speaks hate. You know what I'm saying? So, like, it's like, even if I don't necessarily support these people over here, I'm definitely not gonna go for the person who's constantly inciting riots when the nation is going through some fucking problems. He's fucking talking down on the people who are being peaceful. All right? Donald Trump is speaking down on the people who are actually doing the peaceful movements and defending racist people like Kyle Rittenhouse. I said his name for the first time. Fuck that nigga. Who are murdering people who are doing these fucking peaceful protests. You guys defend that motherfucker. And this is the guy you support. I don't understand it. And speaking of people condemning fucking peaceful protests, the other day, Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg died. Cancer. Was she like 87? She's like 87 years old. Lady gets no sympathy from Jermaine. She gets no sympathy from me on this podcast. And she shouldn't get any sympathy from any of you niggas. And if you feel like she should, it's whatever. So this is my thing, right? Fuck, I can't read this article. Because I fucking... that's always been on it too often. Just getting prepared for this podcast. I can't read this article. That's hype. But I got the Cliff Notes, ladies and gentlemen. I got the Cliff Notes. So Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Supreme Court Justice. I Googled why do people think she's important? Which, for me, is a legit question. Why the fuck do you care? Why the fuck do you care about this bitch? Why the fuck do you care? So a Google answer was she was a professor at Rutgers Law School and Columbia Law School, teaching civil procedure as one of the few women in her field. Ginsburg spent a considerable part of her legal career as an advocate for the advancement of gender equality, women's rights, winning multiple arguments before the Supreme Court. All right, I looked up. She was appointed because the whole thing is like, oh shit, we don't want Donald Trump to appoint her fucking replacement. Why not? Donald Trump's buddy, Bill Clinton, who hangs out with Epstein, all these three niggas who hang out, who are buddies, going to these fucking pedophile islands, going to these pedophile clubs. They're all buddies. Bill Clinton appointed fucking Ruth Bader Ginsburg. So what's the difference? Tell me what's the difference between Donald Trump and Bill Clinton. Tell me the difference right now. Is it that Donald Trump is a Republican right now, but he was originally a Democrat, but then said publicly that he would run Republican because Republicans are dumb enough to elect him, and then they did? What's the difference between Trump and Clinton? Shit. Ain't shit. I just couldn't figure out why everybody was so up and like, oh my God, this person died. And it's like, yo, rest in peace to people who die. You know what I'm saying? That's fucked up. But this lady gets no sympathy from me. I just don't know. You know, years ago, I brought this up I had an argument. What was an argument? A friend of mine, Mary, posted a picture. I think she changed her profile picture to Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And I just commented like, nah. And she's like, what? Other people were commenting like, LOL, like, who the fuck is this guy? And I was like, bruh. I was like, yo, when Colin Kaepernick and other players were peacefully protesting on the sidelines during the national anthem, they asked her what she thought about it. And her answer was that she believed that it was dumb and disrespectful. All right? She said, Colin Kaepernick and other players protesting racial injustice, the injustice that's going on with the police, like everything that Colin Kaepernick was protesting, everything that people are protesting right now, today in 2020. But at the time when this was starting, when Kaepernick was doing it peacefully, she said it was dumb and disrespectful, and she said their point of view was stupid. The point of view that they were trying to show people, that they were trying to put out there, was stupid. All right? This is what we're fighting for right now. This is what all kinds of fucking protests are going on. And I'm trying to look up. People are like, oh, she was the first person to do this. She's fighting for all these people in, like, as a Supreme Court justice. And I'm just fucking, as I'm talking about it, it's just like, wow. You know what I'm saying? When I said this to people in this argument or this conversation, I didn't argue because at that point I was like, I'm done. I said she said this, right? She was saying how dumb and disrespectful they were to peacefully protest, and that the point of view that black people were being racially profiled is this injustice in America by race. She said it was stupid. It was a stupid point of view that they were trying to put out there. And then when I pointed out that once there was backlash for her saying that, I pointed out that she came back and said and apologized, right? She was like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry for saying that it was dumb and disrespectful and that their point of view was stupid, because when they asked me about it, I didn't know what I was talking about. All right? The Notorious RBG said that Colin Kaepernick and other players peacefully protesting the racial inequality in America was dumb and disrespectful, and it was a stupid point of view to try to put out there. And then when she got backlash, she was like, I just said those things. I didn't know what I was talking about. All right. And when I pointed that out, and in the argument, I keep calling it an argument, but in the conversation on Mary's profile, the person was like, whatever. That doesn't get rid of all the years of good. And it's like, yeah, it does, man. I mean, maybe not for you, all right? Maybe it doesn't for you. But for me, for a black person, all right, who, as important as you think she is, as important as maybe I thought she was prior to this moment, this super liberal fighting for all these progressive things, if she is that important, when that person who is that important speaks out publicly and calls this movement that directly affects me and people who look like me dumb and disrespectful in our point of view on it as stupid, I think it does kind of overshadow all the shit she did. You're in the wrong position to once you're in that position as a Supreme Court justice and you fucking said that, like, you know what she did? She used to call out Donald Trump. She publicly would say things against Donald Trump. And then she apologized publicly for saying these things about Donald Trump because she felt like, as a Supreme Court justice, she like made an oath to not get involved in politics. So you apologized to Donald Trump for calling him out, but you were completely okay with this shit, other than claiming that you just said this fucking crazy shit without being aware of what the fuck you were talking about. Nah. So she gets no sympathy from Jermaine, ladies and gentlemen. You guys can sit here like, oh, she's so great, but nigga, check the receipts, bro. When she got older, like, there was other articles I was reading where, like, she was, like, very chummy with all these conservatives, and there was, like, there was another Supreme Court justice that was, I can't read the article now, or I pulled the name, but they were saying how she was, like, pinning all these shit, trying to, like, speak out against, like, racial inequality and, like, the justice system, like, all this kind of shit, this abuse that's going on. She's speaking out on all these black issues, these issues concerning the black people in America. Sorry. And Ruth Bader Ginsburg chose to not be a part of any of that shit. So y'all can feel how y'all feel, and I'm going to feel how I feel. I'm not saying that y'all need to feel how I feel, but I'm going to feel how I feel. And I'm going to express these opinions here. Like, when push came to shove, I'm not sure. Like, when I look up, I mean, I guess, like, I was looking up the negative. I mean, I was fully aware of the Kaepernick stuff, and I just, like, searched Ruth Bader Ginsburg backlash, and then all this other shit about her not standing behind these issues, her being tough on, like, just all, like, it's just like man, if y'all really looked into it, she's got a history of being shady, nigga. What's the, okay. Actually, I'm saying, like, oh, I can't read it, but there's something I shared. A girl I used to work with posted something, and I was like, fuck yeah. Because, like, I don't know, she was a woman, and I felt like at that point I could share it. Because I kept seeing this nonsense, and I was just like, yo, this shit's really pissing me off. Like, people keep posting about this goddamn woman, and, like, and she posted, like, and I was like, fuck, yeah. Oh, it's not here. I don't know where the fuck it is. Maybe she deleted it, and because maybe she deleted it, it's gone. Actually, maybe it's on my personal account. Oh, here it is. Here it is right here. It's like an Eric Andre meme, and it's like, do you think RBG had girl power? And then the person is like, yes, of course. And then, the Eric Andre in the meme on the bottom, it's like, do you think she effectively utilized girl power by trampling on Oneida tribal sovereignty on lands they had bought back, fast-tracking deportations of asylum seekers, expanding fracking infrastructure, and supporting tough-on-crime legislation? If you guys fucking go into it, you'll find a lot you don't agree with here. But she was a meme. A lot of people who've never... That's what I'm saying. If I say to you, yo, all this happened with Colin Kaepernick, blah, blah, and it's news to you, then you're probably not too familiar with a lot of the things she did, other than the fucking headlines that you like to attach to. You know what I'm saying? 1 second here. You know, but who knows, you know. They say time heals all wounds, if you will. And, you know, that moment really affected me on my opinion of her, but maybe give it 5 years and I'll be a little more calmed down. But, I mean, this was like 2013, 2012 when she said all these things, and then 7 years later, I'm still pretty upset. I mean, I forgave Amy Winehouse, you know, if you guys aren't aware. There's that video. You can look it up right now. Just search Amy Winehouse racist song. There's like some video of her, and she's like with her boyfriend or fiance or some shit, and somebody else, and they're just singing like niggers and blah, blah, blah. Like, they're just sitting around drunk, like singing this gleeful song with all these slurs. Like, I was just like, holy shit, Amy. Amy. But that album fire, though. So, give it some time. Maybe I'll not be so harsh on the Notorious RBG, but I need you guys to understand that, like, she's got a pretty checkered past if you guys really look into it. And if you don't want to, just be like, oh, no, she was a great person, and I don't care what anybody... Like, if you want to have that attitude of, like, she's just this amazing person that her image can't be touched, then it's whatever. You know what I'm saying? If that's your stance on it, then it's whatever. But if you want to look into, like, those things I was saying, like the fracking and all that shit, if you look into it, you'll find it. You'll find more than that. So she's not necessarily this hero you guys try to make her out to be, and that's my whole point. When I see you guys posting it, because I was hurt by those comments. As important as you think she is, I think she's that important also. So when she said those things about the movement, it hurt. That's why 7 years later, I'm here talking to you right now. So when I see all you guys posting about it, it hurts. It brings back that moment when she said it was stupid that that these black players were trying to protest peacefully about the racial injustice going on, people being murdered, and there's no account to it. That's what they were protesting. She said it was stupid, and it hurts me today. All right? When you guys post, oh, she's so great, it hurts me today. All right? So maybe I just need a little more time for me to mourn this woman, but for right now, all your posts trigger me. And I'm going to leave it at that. UFC this past week. So you had, they did a press conference, which is pretty dope. With everything's going on, they just they'll be like, boom, we're doing a press conference like today, which is what they did. They just announced maybe a few hours before that they were doing a press conference for this past weekend's card. Khamzat Chimaev was clearly the star of the whole thing. He's trash talking Gerald Mearshart. He was like, yo, you're a black. Khamzat said to Gerald, he was at the press conference, he's like, so you're a black belt, right? Gerald's like, yeah. And he's like, but Jack Hermanson, he choked you out. He's not a black belt. And Gerald's like, yeah, man, it happens sometimes. This is fighting. And Khamzat's like, nah, how are you black belt and he choke you out? He's not black belt. If I choke you out and I'm blue belt, then you give me your black belt. And Gerald jokingly says, whoa, what happens if I double leg you? If I take you down, do I get a wrestling trophy? Which is it's like your trash talk is like, oh, he's better than you. If I choke you out, I get you better. It's like you're saying nonsense right now. So he's like, oh, if I take you down, do I get a wrestling trophy? Because it's like you're saying Khamzat's saying fucking nonsense. It sounds cool, but in the grand scheme of things, he's saying nonsense. But Khamzat looked like the fucking star. He was sitting next to Cowboy saying he's ready to smash Cowboy. I'm ready to smash, bro. Ready to smash. One thing that was mentioned in that press conference, I was like, whoa. So last week during the morning, I'm a big fan of Luke Thomas, Brian Campbell, Morning Combat. Mondays they do their shows on YouTube, and they go over the weekend stuff like UFC. And I think it's pretty interesting because I'll talk about this Sunday, and when they go on, I'll be like, I said that. So that gets me hyped because I'm like, I touched on that. I said that. That was my point of view. I said that too, Luke. Anywho, that's me personally. These niggas ain't listening, but me, I'm like, I said that. Anywho, so what was a short thing that was mentioned in this press conference was Cowboy. After Khamzat said he wants to fight Cowboy too, Cowboy mentioned this guy, he's like, I love his attitude. He's always ready to go. And it was like he was about to fight Kevin Holland in the Fighter Hotel. Now, I mentioned Morning Combat because I wrote them, they'll answer fan questions on their morning show. So I sent them a question. I was like, last week I sent them the question, what do you think about in the inevitable matchup between Khamzat Chimaev and Kevin Holland? Both fighters see Khamzat Chimaev is real famous. He's getting real popular right now. He's the hot new thing. And they're like, dude, he's fighting in both weight classes. He's fighting at 170. He's fighting 185. Kevin Holland is also doing that same thing right now. He's lost a few times. He fought Thiago Santos at 185, like on short notice. Like on a week, like on days' notice, he fought Thiago Santos at 185. All right? That man's a fucking G. Okay? I don't know how Khamzat would do at a 185-pound fight with Thiago Santos today. Thiago's a fucking monster. He's a fucking sledgehammer. As he has on his chest, he comes at you so fast, so strong. I don't know how Khamzat would do against that, but I'm saying Kevin Holland, on days' notice, stepped in and fought Thiago Santos, who one judge scored it so that he beat John Jones for the light heavyweight title. If that doesn't tell you anything. I wrote them and I was like, what do you think about this matchup? They didn't answer the question. And when I wrote it, I was like, maybe they didn't answer it because it seems kind of silly. You know, maybe these people are never going to be like, maybe it's not an inevitable matchup like I was thinking. But then Cowboy says that Khamzat and Chimaev almost got into a fight at the Fighters Hotel. And I'm going to touch on this later, actually. So the stare-downs happen. They do all the stare-downs. It's whatever. At that press conference, there was no Colby or Tyron because Tyron did not want, for whatever reason, he didn't want to have a back and forth with Colby. So he chose to have, after this press conference where they had Khamzat and Gerald, they had Johnny Walker and Ryan Spann and Cowboy and Nico Price. They did not have the main event fighters, Colby and Tyron, because Tyron chose not to do that. Tyron came afterward. After this, they did a one-on-one interview. They did just a personal interview with Tyron. Then they did an interview with Colby. In Tyron's interview, he wore a Black Lives Matter t-shirt, Black Lives Matter bandana, and he answered all the questions with Black Lives Matter. So that was pretty cool. Colby came in with an intensity I've never seen. He's usually all smiles, joking, laughing in people's face. This time he was fucking serious, all right? He came in there with an intensity I've never seen before. Looked like he was ready to kill Woodley. So that's like the hype during the week, and I was fucking like ready to go. Like, this is about to be a fucking fight. It's about to be a great card. You got, starting off the main card, you got Kevin Holland versus Darren Stewart. I picked Darren Stewart to win this fight, actually, because I like Kevin Holland, but I'm like, his goofiness in there, and he doesn't really check leg kicks too well. So he's too goofy, and he isn't too well on checking the leg kicks, and Darren Stewart is fucking strong. So I was like, dude, if he fucking attacks those legs and really puts it on him, he can probably knock him out in the third. Which, honestly, for 2 rounds, Kevin Holland put it on. Well, it was pretty even, but Kevin was, like, getting the better of Darren Stewart with the strikes. Just slightly. He was slightly winning those rounds. And then in the third round, Kevin Holland was completely gassed. And Darren Stewart got him down and just, like, beating him up on the ground. Luckily, Kevin Holland wasn't finished, and him winning those first 2 rounds kind of inked out the victory for him there in a split decision. But I honestly felt like it was a 10-8 in that last round, and it should have been a draw. Or I don't even know if it would have. Yeah, I think it would have been a draw if it was a 10-8. But they gave it to Kevin Holland at split decision. He went directly to Dana White and said he feels like he didn't win that fight and it was a draw. Which I was like, I tweeted out. I was like, dude, that's a draw. And because he clearly got dominated in the third. He had no cardio. Darren Stewart was just beating him on, hitting him with crazy elbows, screaming, "Come on, Kevin!" Because like Kevin was dominating the first 2 rounds, but he's clearly gassed in the third. And like, so Kevin's on the ground, Darren Stewart's on top of him, and his guard, or he's probably not even his guard. He's just beating him up. I can see it, like, dude, like Kevin has nothing left. He is going to probably just try to hug him so so that he can't do any damage. And, like, Kevin Holland's corner is screaming, like, come on, Kevin, come on. And Darren Stewart's like, come on, Kevin, and just, like, starts elbowing, like, Kevin, come on. Like, with every elbow, come on, Kevin, come on, Kevin. Like, it was fucking awesome. And they're talking about running that back, and I wish they would. I felt like that was a 10-12. He was he completely dominated Kevin in the third. And that whole, come on, Kevin, and just hitting him with the elbows, it's like, dude, that's a 10-8. That should have been a draw. Kevin is talking about he's willing to run it back. I don't know if they will. Maybe they should meet later down the line. I think both of those guys will move up in the rankings. That was a great fight. After the fight, well, I mean, I was saying, as I said to you guys, I wanted to see Kevin Holland versus Khamzat Chimaev. And Kevin Holland says if Damian Maia can't fight Chimaev on the date that they're trying to set, he will step up and fight Ratlip. Right? He'll step up and fight Ratlip. And that's Khamzat Chimaev. If you don't know, Ratlip, I don't know, I think maybe, like, it looks like maybe he had, like, a cleft lip and they did the surgery. Like, that's what it looks like for Khamzat Chimaev, like his lip. And he was talking about how he was going to fly to Ireland to just beat up Conor McGregor, like, in the street. He was just going to beat up Conor McGregor in the street. And he just, like, put that out there. And Conor tweeted him, like, rat lip. That's just it. Just rat lip. Where, if you want background on that, like, when Conor was about to fight Khabib, he was talking about how, like, Khabib's manager, Ali, is... he got into some trouble, and he was, like, a criminal informant. Called him a rat. So with this dude who was talking about going to fight Conor, Khamzat, because of the disrespect he was putting on the Muslim people and so on and so forth, he called him a rat lip in conjunction to the whole Khabib thing, you know. So Kevin Holland says he's open to fight Ratlip, and I was hoping that would happen. I was hoping they would start calling each other out. Because at first he was talking about Marvin Vettori. He said he's all about Marvin Vettori, but he didn't mention Marvin Vettori anymore. He said he wants to fight Khamzat. I'd like to see Khamzat versus Marvin Vettori. I'd like to see how that goes. But anywho, that was a great fight for Kevin Holland. And he said he's ready. He said, I'll see you guys in 2 weeks at the press conference. So we'll see what happens. So you have Mackenzie Dern submits Randa Marcos in the first round with an armbar. These ladies have to learn to not grapple with her, all right? They keep grappling with Dern for no reason. What logic is there? If I'm a man with no arms and, let's say, I don't even know how to, like, if I'm a man with no arms and it's like, yo, I don't even know, man. It's like, yo, you can win, but like, let's say I'm fast. I'm a man with no arms, and there's just a random competition where I can win the competition either by running, and I'm much faster than my opponent. I can run, or even if I'm not much faster than my opponent, maybe we're similar rate, like similar speeds, but it's more competitive. I have a chance there. Or me with no arms, I can get in the ring and box this person with no arms. All right? No arms. And they're like, yo, this dude's like fucking, that's Mike Tyson in his prime. Don't go in there. That's fucking Muhammad Ali in his prime. You don't want to box him. Best you should probably run because you guys are similar speeds. And they're like, nah, man. He thinks, and I'm just like, nah, man. He thinks he's the badass boxer. I'm just going to go in there and box him. It's like, but you have no arms. And he's a boxing, like, legend. He's one of the greatest boxers of all time. And he's just like, nah, I can beat him at his own game. That's what these ladies do when they face Mackenzie Dern. It happened similar with Seifers. She knocked her down with a punch, and for whatever reason, just, like, came in and tried to play the guard shit and just beat her up on the ground. Mackenzie Dern grabbed her fucking leg, twisted that shit up, hit her with a heel hook, got a quick first-round submission. She fights Randa Marcos. They say before the fight, Randa was saying, like, she wants to beat Mackenzie Dern at her own game. Mackenzie Dern goes for a kick early on in the first round, slips, falls to the ground. Randa jumps at it and goes to play this ground game with this fucking BJJ champion. Her dad is like this legendary like BJJ guy, and people are choosing to go to the ground with her, and sure enough, she got armbarred. Randa Marcos armbarred in the first round. Just don't go to the ground with her. Avoid it at all costs. Like, who the fuck is like, yo, I'm taking Damian Maia down, and we're gonna keep this fight on the ground? Why? If you can, keep the fight standing. That's your best option, because this guy's a fucking specialist. And that's who you know she is. Why are you going to say, like, no, I'm going to beat her at this game? I don't think so. I think she fought, it wasn't. Was it Hebas? Was it Hebas? Mackenzie Dern. Sorry. Just want to know, like, who did she lose to? She's only got one loss. Oh, she did lose to Hebas. So she fought Hebas, and Hebas's jiu-jitsu held up. Hebas's grappling held up against Mackenzie Dern. So maybe, like, that gave other people confidence, but I think Hebas is on another level than most of these ladies, man. So shout out to Mackenzie Dern. She got the first round finish over Randa Marcos. And moving on, we got Khamzat Chimaev taking on Gerald Meerschaert. And as I said, it was like Khamzat said, if I choke you out, I get your black belt. And Gerald was like, okay. Blah, blah. And with one punch, 17 seconds of a fight, Khamzat knocks out Gerald Meerschaert with a right straight that kind of looked like he had his elbow flared as if he was coming with a hook, but then instead he had it flared, but then just went straight with it and just fucking rocked Gerald. Gerald had the left hand up to try to block the hook, but Khamzat came straight and fucking hit him on the chin and knocked him out cold with one punch. Boris. Khamzat Chimaev is the real fucking deal. He's a monster. All right? He's a monster. I really want to see Khamzat versus Holland, but at this point, I think, like, the only way that could happen is if Holland somehow makes it to top 5, because they're about to fucking push Khamzat. He's not about to fight a Kevin Holland, who I don't even think is ranked at any division. So that's not about to happen anytime soon, unfortunately. I honestly think that they're talking about booking Khamzat Chimaev versus Damian Maia, and I honestly feel like Khamzat will walk through Maia. I don't even think it would be too competitive at all. And Dana White has already started saying, like, yeah, we probably have to move past Damian Maia. He said he doesn't think Maia is going to be ready in time for this fight. So they're probably... I looked at the rankings earlier, and Maia's currently at 7, but Woodley's currently at 5, and he just got destroyed. I mean, we're going to get into this later. So he's most likely going to move up. But they're saying that Maia should he's at least probably going to move up to 6. And they're saying the number 6 opponent, the number 6 ranked fighter in welterweight is not good enough for Khamzat. So he's calling for a title shot, man. We'll see what happens, but I don't know. I would like to see it. He's a great fighter. But regardless of that, Kevin Holland. So Kevin Holland spoke on the in the post-fight. Kevin Holland spoke on the interaction he had with Kevin Holland in the hotel that I mentioned earlier. And he said Khamzat Chimaev thought he was the help at the hotel. So he walked up to him, pushed him, and demanded that he go clean his room. I don't agree with any of that bullshit, all right? That's disgusting behavior. Disgusting behavior. But I've heard about that. Like, I've known people, I used to work for a hotel as the receiver or whatever, but when I've spoken to people who worked at hotels as housekeeping, and they told me that certain people from certain countries, they treat the hotel staff like they're servants, they're scum. They'll just be like, yo, go clean my dishes, go, like, they'll just treat you like you're nothing. And I don't agree with that at all. I don't care who you are, even if you're fucking Kamzat and you're a great fighter. You don't treat people that way. So I don't agree with that. And Kevin is saying, like, he compared Kamzat to John Jones and how John Jones was, like, this super Christian, super positive fighter right away. But then, like, all of a sudden you found out who the real person was, like, as things went on. And I think, and he was like, so pretty soon you guys will see who the real Kamzat is. He said Kamzat is just playing a role when the cameras are on, which is, based off what I'm hearing, man, that's what it sounds like, man. So unfortunately, Kamzat might be a piece of shit. I heard a story from Bobby Green that Cowboy might be a piece of shit. So it just is what it is. But that's just uncool, man. If that's true, that he thought Kevin was hotel staff, and he walked up, pushed him like, yo, clean my room. What the fuck is wrong with you? The fuck is wrong with you? If that's the case, I would love to see Kevin Holland starch this nigga. But I don't see it happening anytime soon, just because of how their careers are kind of going right now. Kevin Holland is talking about running back that match with Darren Stewart. You can't be talking about that. He said he's not looking for title shots, while Chimaev is talking about he's ready to fight both Kamaru Usman and Israel Adesanya. So the way their careers are going, I don't think I'm going to see that fight anytime soon. So that's what I say. So we got the main event, which is Colby versus Woodley. And I thought it was interesting that Colby started the whole hate fest on himself when he fought Rafael Dos Anjos. And then after the fight, he was like, all these Brazilians are all filthy animals and blah, blah, blah. He went on this whole racist rant. And eventually he became one of the most hated, like probably the most hated person in the UFC with all his antics. And it led to the point where he got kicked out of the gym that he was training out of because he was saying so much negative shit about people. And now he fucking exclusively trains in a gym run by all Brazilians. I think he trains with like all Brazilians, which feeds more into what I was saying last week, that I feel like when he goes out there and he's like, oh, Trump, blah, 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 like, yeah, you hate it, but like, it's all a gimmick, man. He doesn't believe any of that nonsense. And he said all that shit like, oh, these Brazilians are all filthy animals, blah, blah. And now he trains with exclusively Brazilians. So he's just a fucking gimmick. Colby fucking ran through Woodley. All right, he dominated him. Possible 10-8 in the fourth round. He cut him up on both sides, had him on the ground, just beat him up with these elbows. Colby just dominated Woodley for this entire fight. And so in the fifth, Woodley had a guillotine on Colby. Colby went for a takedown. He hit him with the guillotine. Colby slammed him to the ground, and then all of a sudden, like once Colby's head popped out of the guillotine, Woodley started screaming, my rib, ah! And the ref came in and stopped the fight, and they're saying, like, something happened. Woodley said he doesn't know what happened, but his rib got hurt. And I saw the photos. I'm looking at him. His, like, rib is, like, the top of his rib is, like, it's black on his skin. Like, just right there in that area, it's just super dark. So, like, maybe he, like, pulled a muscle or something, but he was like, my rib! And the ref came in, TKO stoppage. Woodley gets on the mic, like, he's like, where's my fucking belt? He's like, Kamaru, I'm gonna kill you. Like, he's just going off, calling for a title shot. He's calling out Jorge Masvidal. He said that's his next fight. Either he's fighting Jorge Masvidal or he's fighting Kamaru Usman. He's gonna stay in shape so that he can maybe step in and fight Kamaru Usman when he's supposed to fight Gilbert Burns. I think in December is when that fight's happening. I'm pretty sure. Donald Trump called Colby just to congratulate him. It's pretty gross. Pretty gross. Fuck that nigga. Fuck the president. You got Colby Covington and Usman arguing in the post-fight interview. Colby, I'm not sure, man. Kamaru called him out for what looks to be herpes sitting on his lip there. He's like, you got something sitting on your lip there from being with the president this past weekend. And Kobe was like, whatever, and just tried to like move away from the topic. I was like, oh man, it probably is herpes. This is how quick he tried to move away from that topic. He called him out for his lip, and then John Jones posted on his Twitter. He was like, after Kobe beat Woodley, he was like, well, you still have herpes, and posted a close-up video of his lip, and that shit kind of looked like herpes. But like the back and forth between Kamaru and Kobe again was fucking awesome. I'm ready for the rematch if it happens. If there's Kobe versus Usman again, if it happens, hopefully that happens. My whole thing is like, even when before the fight happened, I'm like, dude, these people are they're talking about each other, right? You got Kobe, he's talking about Usman, he's mentioned, like, who's Gilbert Burns? Like, I'll fight that guy. Who is that guy? Like, you guys are talking about each other, but the whole time, like, I'm thinking, like, why is nobody saying, like, this Khamzat guy is coming, right? He's coming to fight all you guys. He's coming to fight Kobe, coming to fight Kamaru. He's called out Kamaru, like, 2-3 times now. So, like, I don't know what this whole, like, yeah, Kobe, you have beef with Kamaru, but I think you guys need to all be like, yo, this nigga over here is coming, and he's a problem. He's a problem. I've always wanted to see, I wanted to see Kobe versus Khabib. I wanted to see it. I mean, Kobe's much bigger than Khabib, so maybe that's not a fair fight, but here we go with Khamzat, who's about the same size as, if not maybe a little bit bigger than Kobe. So now we have that fight. We can see whose wrestling's better. And I honestly think, dude, Khamzat looks like a fucking problem for no matter who he fights. I think he would dominate Woodley clearly. I think he's going to dominate Damian Maia. He said that Israel Adesanya would be the easiest fight for him. Shit's wild, man. They're talking about each other. This nigga got herpes. Kobe got herpes. And Khamzat is the person they all need to be worried about. They all need to be worried about Khamzat, in my personal opinion. Next week, ladies and gentlemen, we got UFC 253 popping off. I'm so excited. I just can't hide it. Next week, we got the return of the last style bender. Israel Adesanya in the main event is taking on Paulo Costa. They're both undefeated. Who's gonna lose that O? Who's losing that O? Sarah. Hey, Sarah. You're gonna lose that O. So who's losing the O? I think Paulo. I think Paulo's gonna lose his O. In the interview with Luke Thomas and Israel Adesanya, Luke Thomas said something. He was like, in most fights that I've seen with Paulo, like, people get backed up to the fence, but I've never seen someone turn Paulo Costa. And, like, fucking Israel started cheesing, and he, like, did this thing, because he was saying, like, he's going to stir the pot, or, like, stir the cauldron is, like, what he's going to do. He's going to put him through he's going to stir the pot for when he whoops Paulo Costa's ass. And, as fucking Luke was like, yo, nobody's, like, ever turned him. Like, as you're moving, like, so in the fights, when I've seen Paulo Costa's fight, he comes at you with the power, and people are, like, backing up. They're trying to back up for their power, and pretty soon their back's up against the fucking fence, and they're trying to fight out of that situation. And what Luke was saying was, like, with the movements, you can just move left to right, you can move left to right. When Usman fought Woodley for the belt, I think Usman kept moving either to the right or the left. I think he kept moving to the left. He kept just moving off center so that Woodley didn't have the angle to land his right hand. He just kept moving in a certain way off to the side. And so Luke Thomas said to Israel, no one's turned this man. Just move in a certain way when you're fighting so that he can't like be planted and throw those power punches. And Israel was like, he started geeking and did the symbol like he's just turning the plot. Like, this is all a part of the fucking plan, and I know it is. I know it. I was like, fuck, he just called it right there. He's about to fuck this man up. So, I'm telling you right now, my call for Israel Adesanya versus Paulo Costa is a stoppage. I see Israel Adesanya winning that matchup easily. You got Dom Reyes versus Jan Blachowicz for the vacated UFC light heavyweight titles. John Jones vacated his belt. I'm rooting for Jan. I want Jan Blachowicz to win this fight. I think he's got more ways to win. Dom just has that left hand. All right? And I think Jan is definitely he's the higher fight IQ. I think he's the better jiu-jitsu. Dom Reyes has his wrestling. He has the wrestling background, but I think the jiu-jitsu of Jan could be a problem for Reyes. I'm rooting for Reyes. I'm rooting for Jan Blachowicz in this one. I'm not rooting for Reyes, but I think there's a good chance he could win this fight because if that right hand touches you, it very well could be good night. So I'm rooting for Jan, but it could easily be ended in 17 seconds. It could be easily ended in a few seconds if Reyes is able to touch Jan. If he's able to touch his chin with that left hand, it could be a quick night. One thing that the last fight I want to talk about for next week is Diego Sanchez versus Jake Matthews. I just saw this video. Diego Sanchez's coach, like, chasing people with a knife, and they're doing all these flips, and it's just so silly. And I think back to Diego Sanchez fighting Michel Pereira, and he's putting up this force field, and Michel is just, like, fucking punching him, and he's fucking flying to the fucking cage, and I'm like, fuck, dude, get him out of there. And I'm watching this training like, yo, Diego's about to get another ass whooping, and we should not let it happen, but we're going to let it happen. 1 second here. So, yeah. I'm going to go ahead and give you guys the social medias. We're going to get out of here. You guys have been a great audience. You've been a great audience. My name is Jermaine Event. Anywho, it's Babylon 5 Podcast, episode 57, Notorious NIG. If you want to follow this podcast on Instagram and Twitter, you can go ahead and look up the handle, my handle. I'm sorry, I spaced on how I should continue that. If you want to follow this podcast on Instagram and Twitter, the handle is at Babylon5Pod. If you want to follow my personal account, it's at My Name's Jermaine. You can email this podcast at Babylon5podcast@gmail.com. I'm fucking hungry. I don't know if you guys could hear my stomach growling or the gases from my intestines contracting, which is the sound. It's not your stomach growling. Your stomach's relatively small. The sound you hear is the sound of the gases in your stomach as they compress from not having food in them. If you guys want to follow this podcast, I don't know if I said that. Go ahead to follow this podcast on Podbean. Go to babylon5.podbean.com. You can listen to this podcast on Podbean, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, pretty much anywhere podcast stream. If you got Xbox One, go ahead and add me. My gamer tag is SauceBoss414. You can watch me play with myself at twitch.tv/Babylon5. Go check out my merchandise. Go to teespring.com/store/BOF pod-shop. And go ahead and check out patreon.com/Babylon5pod. I figure if I make those exclusive clothes, as I was saying, maybe I'll post them to Patreon and it'll be exclusive gear. But, like, I don't want too many niggas wearing that shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm me, nigga. So, that's just how it's going to be. It's episode 57. This is Jermaine Event, Notorious NIG. Thank you guys so much for being here. If you lasted throughout here, if you weren't completely turned off by the previous content, thank you guys so much for being here. This is Jermaine Event, and I'll see you guys next week. Peace.